This. Let me get my phone.
We're live.
Hey everybody, am I supposed to start? Is this on your
Yes.
your channel? So, but we're back.
They're accustomed to you doing the lead-in, so
my smooth lead-ins like today. We're back to do another episode of the STRAT Fan Forum Football Show. This is the second part of a SOMIFA preview. Tom was able to knock out part one, cover the first 9 teams, I believe. So we've got 15 teams to go. We've got an hour and 40 minutes to do it in. That means 5 minutes per team, and with a little bit of extra padding time for nonsense like this. So let's do this thing. How's it going, Tom?
Going good, Dennis. How you doing? I always miss the applause. I need to talk to Stephen. What's his name? Stephen Awit. Stephen, the guy in SOMIFA.
There you go.
He put out that incredible Super Bowl promo video when I was playing the SOMIFA Super Bowl. So he knows something about video editing and these types of things. I bet he will know how we can incorporate some cool things into our videos in the future. Now, I strained my abdomen or something last week, so I'm not able to speak with quite as much force as usual, and perhaps not quite as much volume. But we'll see, because I did those 9 teams in kind of lengthy fashion last week. But we're going to get right into it. This is the part 2, and I'm trying to follow some suggestions that I got from the people on the forum in the SOMIFA forum section on the forum when I asked for it. And a good one is to stay focused, Dennis. I'm telling you, I'm the one who has the problem. For me to stay focused on what this show is about, and that will prevent me from digressing into weird areas, perhaps. And I can do a whole show of weird areas if I like.
I like it. It's like when the old joke about asking all the people in the mental hospital why they're all there, and the answer, of course, is because they're not all here. So we need to be unlike them and focus on our task at hand.
I was really missing my sound effect on that one. That would have been the boom thing.
Bum, 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 bah.
So yes. So focus on the task, and the season has already started, Dennis. I was very pleased. We're going to get to my team soon. That was another suggestion, not to spend half the show on the Jets and Seahawks, the Jets specifically. But so I'll save that. I'll follow that suggestion. But I was happy with my season opener. And you're 2-0, right?
Yes, 2-0, and 1.5-0 in S28. So I'm 3.5-0 in my 2 leagues so far.
1.5-0. Did you go for the tie instead of?
Oh, I'm only at halftime, but I'm well on my way to a second win.
Instead of throwing it on 4th and 4 with Andrew Luck like Frank Reich.
There you go.
Last week.
Hey, I like that call. I've done calls like that. That was a ballsy call, and I think that's what a good strat coach would do. So Frank Reich, you're welcome to join SOMIFA. We'll bump you up on the waiting list. I'll talk to Ed.
I didn't like that call. I would have punted there.
I know you would have, but I love that call. I really do.
They were at their own 43 with 27 seconds left. Even if he gets the first down there, they still need 15 more yards to get into a decent field goal. If he doesn't get the first down, Houston doesn't even need to get a first down. They could try a 52-yard field goal. Houston gets like 8 yards. It's a 52-yard field goal. They're indoors. So to me,
do you see Indianapolis making the playoffs? That's the type of call that can change your season around.
You don't. Well, yeah. Well, but you don't know for sure what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen later on down the season. I mean, right now Andrew Luck's been a little shaky as we immediately get off focus.
Okay. Okay. Never mind.
No. We'll finish this one. But I mean, if theoretically, if Luck's shoulder continues to look a little better, and I think it's looked a little better last night, late in the game, and a little bit the week before. They could suddenly start getting more competitive later in the season. At this point, they'd be 1-3-1 anyway. Not much of a difference between that 1-4. But I'd much rather be 1-2-1 than 1-3. 1-3 with that. 1-3 with a shaky team feels like, oh, I'm dead. 1-2-1, I'm like, hey, I'm still alive. I don't know. So I
discounting the whole thing about the mentality that he wants to bring. He wants to bring in. We're not playing for a tie. We're playing for the win. I just love that stuff. And I've done stuff like that. Ask Ed. One time I had a chance to almost make the playoffs. We were in a similar situation. It was tied late in overtime. I was around midfield. And he was a playoff team dead on. But I was like 7, 6, and and 0. So if I lose that game, I'm 7-7. No, I was 7-7. So if I lose that game, I'm 7-8. I'm definitely out. I needed to win the game. I had already had a tie. I was 7-7-1. So I went for it. I lost the game, missed the playoffs. But I would do the same call again. I want those season-changing type calls, and I'm happy to stand behind them.
It sounds like, well, no, look, if a tie is going to eliminate you from the playoffs, then obviously you go for the win.
It was one of those things that, you know how Ed has that you get the first 9 teams in the play. 9 teams make the playoffs, or 11 teams make the playoffs, whatever it is. And if you're 9-7, you're in. If you're 8-8, you're out. He said, I asked him before I made the call, if you're 8-7-1, you only make it in if there's not enough 9-7 teams to make it. So even though you're over 500, you're not guaranteed a shot in the mini playoffs unless there's not enough of the first. There's not 11 teams ahead of you to make it.
Yes, then you have to go for 9-7 in that situation. It's, that's not the same as week 4.
I hear you.
I mean, to me, people saw you're going to put in the mentality of, you're playing for the win, not for the tie. I'm like, okay, but now you put in the mentality of that, boy, we really suck. 1-3. But anyway, but not the 1-2-1 is so great. But anyway, that's what I would have done. Only because of the game situation. If they'd have been at the 50 or something, maybe I would say differently. No, it was only a few yards further. It wasn't a horrible call, but I would have punted it there. Anyway, at that point in the season with that particular team, give them something to not feel horrible about. But let's get back. Let's start the show.
Sounds good.
The Houston Texans are leading us off half man, half Mankiewicz. Some of the feedback I got was they liked when I would show the record from last year and the record from recent years for some perspective. Okay, so that's always good. So Paul was I thought I did Paul, but I didn't, because I just listened to the end of the part 1 before starting this to make sure Green Bay that State Scott was who I finished with. Houston Texans, Paul Mankiewicz, only league probably where he's not the San Diego now LA Chargers. Paul was 10-6 last year, made the postseason, beat that's Jeff Wendland, right?
Yeah.
In Indianapolis, 20-17, 27-17 rather, and actually Paul made it to semifinals. I feel like I mentioned this already, but I guess not. Paul made it all the way to the semifinals before losing to Dale Ripley, the eventual champion. 19-13. I think I called every playoff game last year in SOMIFA. And then we have the old trusty grid year by year, where Paul, as you see, Dennis, missed the playoffs in year 1 with 8-8 record. And after that, made the playoffs every single year until 2014. He's only had 1 losing season in SOMIFA history. He's only had, actually 2002 was the first. He was also 8-8 that season. He's only had 1 losing season in SOMIFA history. And since 2014, he's made the playoffs all but once. And there's only one 9-7 season in there. Every season is double-digit victories. And back in the Danian Tomlinson era, he was winning 12-plus games pretty much every year. Let's take a look at this team. You got Drew Brees, a quarterback. Dennis, we know this card well. I fucking swear I did this team already. Flat pass is very strong. The short pass, you don't like the 6, 7, 8, but the units aren't too bad. But the flat pass is king with that card. You got somebody else that they wanted me to show what the running back capabilities are, but you can't do everything, Dennis. It only has 5-6 minutes per team. Le'Veon Bell is a starting running back, 4.0 average. He's got a decent card. I would say not the greatest, but pretty decent workmanlike if you have a good line, especially. I could have sworn I spoke about this because Paul drafted a lineman first overall. I'm almost certain I did this team, but I don't have a record in the predictions for them. I just listened to the end of the show, and Green Bay is who I did last. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I don't know. Who knows? It's a mystery. Maybe I was going to do Paul, and I decided not to. Who knows? Like, you know what I don't like about like this Le'Veon Bell receiving card, and he gets these cards, only a 7.7 receiving average. I could swear I did this team. The yardage on right, like he's got so many completion. Look how weak this yardage is. -5, 4, 5, 1, 6. I mean, a flat pass right, you like to do a little better than that with the yardage. Obviously, wrong, he's very good and he catches everything. And he can catch the short pass as well. Paul's got, I did out to this team. Well, he's got Brandon Cooks at one receiver spot, who's maxed out deep and always has good yardage, 1926 short. Golden Tate is a number 2 receiver. He's maxed out flat and short. You like his flat right better than Le'Veon Bell's, only 5'10 deep. And again, I mentioned this in the part 1 of the show. There's a number of these possession type of receivers. They can go deep a little, even if they're a 9'15 guy. Tate's only a 5'10. But some of them, they don't have a single completion of 20 yards or more in the flat pass / short pass column. I don't think that's the end of the world nowadays. I think you can win with all flat passing and short passing like Dale did last year, and with 3 wide and the flat pass quarterback cards. But it's nice to have those occasional numbers there, because you will hit them a couple of times a year. I feel like
Yeah, I traded him Golden Tate actually, and the reason I did that is because I just didn't like his deep. He's always had like one of those cards where it was like 5.53, or you know what I mean, like really good flat and short, and then the long pass, or maxed out flat. But like you said, the yardage has some wonky short pickups and some negatives, and then the deeps card was never there. And with the guys I had on my roster, I wanted somebody stronger deep. So I moved him for a 2nd-round pick next year, but he's playing great this year, and he might come up with one of those top-notch card next year.
Yeah, well, he's a very good player, but I know what you mean with the type of card he has. Now, do you agree with me that now 2 things? Number 1, with the linebackers getting weaker, and I spoke about this during part 1 of the show, with the linebackers being weaker, and with the flat pass quarterbacks being good, and with that, if anything, getting even more pronounced next year, the way the NFL is unfolding so far here in 2018, and we've played 4 weeks and 1 game in the NFL so far, 2018. I think that, like Dale showed last year, that 3 wide flat pass heavy look can work. But I still like to have a flat pass, short pass card that's got something on it more than 20 yards, because I feel like a few times a year, maybe 3 or 4 times a season, you'll hit like a long gain or a plus 38 or something on your guy's flat or short pass card. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think that's another reasons that kind of pushed me away from, like, let me cash it in now while it's got a max short card, because that's when you like to have those cards, when you're in the red zone or inside the 10, and you get a guess wrong, short pass, you're going to hit that max hits, but you're not going to get those big long yardage plays, and those are important when you're on your own side of the field.
Well, let's remember also that Golden Tate was your 3rd receiver, because I believe you have Tyreek Hill and Marvin Jones as your starting 2 receivers.
Yes, but one of them is not maxed short, so.
No, but those guys have big averages.
Right. So I'd rather play those guys that don't have the max short.
And I think they're both maxed out deep, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are maxed. And they're probably both 1926 short. So it's not like they're like a 1622 guy. It's not like they're a backup like a Sammy Coates card that's really good deep and like all kinds of blanks on the short pass card. It's like, no, those guys are maxed out deep and have like what would be the second best short column. So it's interesting. But on the other side, if you have a bunch of guys like Golden Tate and Jason Witten and those types of guys, you can probably work that flat pass game with a quarterback like Drew Brees. We've seen guys start to try that approach. I know Dan Moore did that with his 1985 team. So more than one way to skin a cat, and it would be interesting to see what happens this year.
And it helps. And it helps when there isn't penalties too. Like that's one of the things that sabotages those Julian Edelman / Golden Tate, flat pass offenses, is you get a holding penalty, and next thing you know, it's harder to flat pass 20 yards than it is to flat pass 10.
That's absolutely true. So
the timer went off, so that's 5 minutes on Houston. Do you want to wrap it up?
We had a little delay there, so I didn't even look at the defense. Let's go there real quick. It's got Jared Cook and Jason Witten as tight ends. Offensive line, I mentioned I thought that Paul drafted a offensive lineman in the 1st round, which is a shocker for him. Took a 5.5 there. Rest of the line's not that great, but it's going to be flat pass heavy, I think. The defense is a 4-3. There's also a Jamison Crowder. He can go 3 wide. I'm almost certain I did this team, or at least looked at them, I guess. Maybe I looked at them and didn't make a prediction. The line goes 0-6-6-5. Then it's those 4-3 defenses. With defensive tackle 6 are very tough to run against. Do you agree?
Yes, absolutely.
Then he's also got nice pass rush with the 12-1 to Julius Peppers. He can plug in the 4 if he is fearful for a certain back with the end run, maybe Todd Gurley, but Peppers will play almost all the time. He's got 9-7-7 at linebacker. Only one of those will count when he's in his base 4-3. Secondary is a little weird, 4-4-5-6. Quick look at the specials, although most of the specials this year are not that
special,
good or bad. He's got Farrell Cooper. He's one of the better punt returners, and I think the best kick returner, one of the best kick returners. But even then, it's going to be mostly touchbacks for Farrell. The field goal kicking could be a big difference. He's got a nice one. Yeah, Harrison Butker, who had a good first year there. So what do we like for this team? What are you predicting for this team, Dennis?
All right, I have my predictions thing up here. I'm going to go double-digit wins again. I'm going to go 10-6, but I think I can see him going 11-5 pretty easily.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give him 11-5. I think I thought about 12-4, but there's enough weakness in the defense. And one of the things I noticed, Dennis, both when I was doing my mock drafts and as I did the first part of the SOMIFA season preview, is again second year in a row, a lot of parity in SOMIFA this year in terms of where I don't think there's any one monster team. Well, I think your team is real good. I'll look at them when we get to them. But right off the bat, there was an automatic real monster team, and also no real doormats. Like even the teams that we're predicting not to do that great in the standings, they're not horrible. They're not, and we've had some teams in these leagues who are totally rebuilding. Like some of Nathan and my rebuilding teams, or some teams that a guy inherits who are awful, or like when Scott's Buffalo team had aged out, so to speak. He was forced into a rebuilding; they were terrible. But even the teams that aren't that good or that are below average, they're not bad. They're gonna hang around. They're gonna play with you. They're gonna win some games. I haven't really seen any real doormats yet, and if there are any real doormats, I don't think there'll be many of them. So it should be another competitive season, and I know that you really enjoy it when it's like that.
Nice, I agree. It's going to be a fun. It's going to be a fun year for sure, especially with the rule set, like you said. Okay, absolutely. I'm starting the timer on Indy. Go.
All right, bingo. All right, now this is Indianapolis Colts. This is Jeff Wendland's team, right there, Dennis?
Yes.
You're the personnel director.
You're going to look at the past, right? How has Jeff W. done in the past?
Jeff is now entering his fourth full season with the Colts. He was the interim coach in 2013. Was 6-10, 9-7, 9-7. Made the playoffs the last 2 years. Lost in the first round both times.
That's still pretty good, though. The new coach coming in and winning seasons for the first 3 years,
particularly in a tough league. And I know he's got some things going for him this year. Phillip Rivers, I think, has got a good card this year, doesn't he, Dennis?
Yeah, it's really good. Lots of hits deep, which is unusual in this card set.
Got the 7 right and wrong incomplete on the flat pass, which no one likes to see. And I forgot to bring up my rankings.
That kind of card is like really, if you're throwing a flat pass and you roll a 7, you're like, man, I could have been going deep. That's a long gain. So those are the things that can drive you nuts.
Oh boy, that is a killer. Now my quarterback and running back rankings that I'm quoting here, they are simply mathematical. I said this in part 1 of the show. They're not based on. I need an extra minute now for this because of the explanation. Will the gentleman yield? This is simply a mathematical evaluation. If I was drafting for one of your battle royale leagues, I would go through the quarterbacks and running backs and create a more subjective and actual ranking. So don't take these as gospel. But they get me in the neighborhood usually with a lot of guys. And I've got Rivers as the number 8 quarterback in the set based upon this. There's a lot of pretty good quarterbacks up here in this set. So I think he's in that top tier. Maybe after Wentz, you get a little drop off because of some picks on Big Ben and Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, a quick aside. We'll give Jeff a little more time. But you had mentioned to me that so far in the NFL, the average quarterback rating was like over 100 or close to 195, and the average completion percentage was 65% or 67%, something crazy like that.
Well, what I mentioned was I don't know what the average rating was, but the average NFL average, all passers, including backups, the NFL average rating, average stats right now for quarterback 65.5% completed, 7.3 average gain, and only like a 2.4 interception percentage.
So the question I have for you is, if that holds true, if that lasts the whole year, is it going to be the type of thing where you're not going to see it? Before, there was always that first tier, second tier, third tier type of quarterbacks in strat. But if the NFL rules, which favor the offense, continue and that trend lasts the whole season, where even guys like Cam Newton is completing 67% of his passes, does that mean everybody's going to have a good card? Like, it's not going to matter anymore if you have a good quarterback, because from say 3 to 28, they're all pretty much the same. They're all effective.
I would say two things. I would say, number one, this is the type of digression that gets us off focus, as we are now not discussing the upcoming season preview. Number two, I would say, let's assume that to some extent this trend holds up for 2018. Maybe there's a little bit of a drop off, but still, it's clearly better, much better than it has been. Okay, I would say it'll be interesting to see how Strat handles it and how it affects draft leagues, because number one, Strat with the cards, they create for stock teams, so they can really hammer these stock team defensive cards. All right, which I think is something that you probably see. You can only make the quarterback flat pass cards. These guys are completing over 70% of their passes. They can't add any more units. They're already maxed out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you might see a greater reduction in defensive ratings in the back seven, particularly maybe even again with the linebackers. Maybe you'll see some better long pass cards for the quarterbacks. Short pass, long pass for the guys like Goff and stuff like that, who are putting up big numbers in the average gain, and Patrick Mahomes, of course. And I suspect you'll see a lot more quarterbacks who are playable, who give you more of a Brian Hoyer type of card, who are at least playable. But there should still be differentiation, and the differentiation will probably come in the short pass right and in the long pass ability. But I think it'll affect stock team defenses. I think is where Strat's going to try to get away with it. But I don't know. Well, I don't know.
It'll be interesting. Yeah, you make some good points. Okay,
we'll speculate about that
later on.
I think when we look at some more numbers. So.
I will unpause Indy's clock now, so you can. Okay. You have 3 minutes left for Indy.
Will the gentleman yield?
Yes, a gentleman yields.
Okay, I've been watching the Supreme Court stuff with Mr. Kavanaugh. So Philip Rivers, a flat pass 7 only. That doesn't really bother me if I have a good team. I'll throw a flat with that. I don't care. I don't think it's that bad. People complain about it. Short pass looks pretty good. 5'11", 15, 17 right, and 18, 21 wrong. You like when the guy, and those are good numbers. 17, 21. You like when the guy has got at least a few more wrong. Some of these guys are like 16, 18, or whatever. I want to be at least 20 wrong if I can. 17 right is certainly good. And then the big one, 10, 14 long pass wrong. Don't see too many 14 plus long pass wrong in the modern game. So let's see if Jeff has the running backs to generate run calls and receivers to make people pay. First of all, Dion Lewis has Dennis one of the better cards in the set. Guess wrong. It doesn't look that great with the naked eye, but it's a solid card mathematically. That 9 plus 25 and run wrong probably really jacks up the card. And you've got extra short gains here. You've got the 7 and then also a 4 and a 3 here. And this line book wrong is very nice. If you get to run that all day long, Dennis, I know you'd be happy with that, right? Let's assume yes. Dennis likes to disappear. So I like Dion Lewis's card. And the backup is really no one great. I see Jonathan Stewart, who has better days, seem to be behind him. So people are going to guess pass and make him earn it with Dion. It's too bad he did not pick up a better backup running back card. That may be an oversight here for Mr. Wenlett. The large got a 7 at center, otherwise 5s and a 4 at left guard. So you can pressure Phillip. Some decent run blocking. Kelsey is real good. Deshaun Jackson, I'm not sure how he was last year.
Yeah, it's not a good card. It's like it's not a good card for him.
Yeah, so Kelsey carries the passing game. He needed a backup running back to Dion Lewis. Dennis, that's a problem. Lewis is good, but 180 attempts, you need more than that. 4-3 defense with tackle 6s. I traded in Grady Jarrett. 4-6-6-6, Dennis, on the defensive line. So if you're going blocking back with good blocking and you want to run against behind your left side, you're going to run at 6s. And then he goes 0-6-5 at linebacker. Fascinating. There are 0s and 4s starting a linebacker this year in SOMIFA, even though it's a 2014 league, because there's not enough non-4s even to go around on a competitive team. But Bobby Wagner helps a ton. Is at 6, and then corner 6-5s. I like that. So his free safety Ricardo Allen can come up to help out with Robert Quinn. Wagner will slide out at times while Allen goes into the middle, so people don't know for sure where the 6 is going to be if Jeff is coaching well. And the strong safety 4 might not kill him. There's only so many Gronks to go around.
Yeah, he has a nice setup. He has his team set up nicely. The 0 outside linebackers on the same side as the 4 defensive end, so he'll drop him down there and then bring the 5 free safety up. I think it's a fascinating team. I love the look of the team, but like you said, it's a very even year. There's a lot of teams that are similar to this. So there's our timer. I'm going to say, for my prediction, I'm going to say 10-6. I think he breaks into double digits for the first time.
Yeah, I'm gonna mirror your prediction. I also think 10-6. Jeff, I really wish Dennis had picked up a decent backup halfback, because Lewis is the only good running back of the team, and he only got 180 carries in the card. What is that? 21 unfatigued or something like that?
Yeah, 20 or 21.
Yeah, you need to be 30 plus if you have a team that you're trying to win with, unless you have some type of super dominant passing game. And this team doesn't have that, because Rivers is not good enough on flat pass. He only has 1-7 on the offensive line, and outside of Kelsey, the receivers are nothing special. But I'll still go 10-6. And please record our predictions, Dennis. Are you doing that?
I am. Yes, I got it saved right here.
All right. With your Betamax, you're recording them?
Yes, I am indeed.
Okay. The Kansas City Chefs. Hey, who are the chefs? I'm sure you remember the commercial.
That's Dan Morin, I believe, isn't it? Oh, no, it's
Lawrence. This is Lawrence.
Is it Lawrence?
Yeah,
Lawrence.
Dan's Miami in this league.
Right.
Kansas City in SSFA. Lawrence had many picks this year and did well with them. This is not a draft recap show, however, so you got to stay on focus. And he's got the 2 quarterback system, Jared Goff and Jameis Winston. And let's start by saying it's clear to me right now. I mean, how could it not be clear to me? Okay, that Jared Goff looks outstanding. It looks like he will have broken the ESPN QB total QBR predictor thing and go on to have an excellent career. He'll be so he's the second guy that would be breaking that mold. Let's see if Mitchell Trubisky can do it after a 6 TD game. And who knows, maybe that thing will no longer be valid. Joe Golden's angry, I think, Dennis, because I think he stayed away from Goff in last year's drafts. You got him in one league, partly because of the ESPN total QBR. Joe, I'm just telling you the stats.
Yeah.
The thing. So anyway, but Goff looks really good this year. Now Lawrence's team is still building for the future, Dennis, which he's done with this team, 5-11, 4-12, 2-14. But he's done a very nice job building for the future. We talked about it on the draft recap show. And the talent is coming in. He drafted more guys this year. Doesn't care what the record is this year. He's got a lot of first-round picks, a lot of young players. He's got Goff and Jameis Winston. Goff's got a pretty good card, right, Dennis?
He has a great card. Well, not a great card, but it's a solid card. It works well when you have a really strong running back.
It's kind of similar to Philip Rivers in a way. The flat pass 7 only incomplete, right and wrong. He's got nice short pass 2-6, 11, 15, 18. He wish the wrong was a little better. But the right is nice, plus the nice yardage. And then 6, 7, 10, 4, is it 6, 15? That can be right. 6, 7, 10, 11. Okay. Actually, so his wrong columns, short and long, aren't as good as you'd like. And that's probably why he gets dinged a little bit. He's down to number 14. And there's a clear drop-off here below Wentz. And then another one I'd say below Garoppolo. When you get into Aaron Rodgers and Goff, those guys are not as good. I got number 14 in my rankings. You've got Joe Mixon at the running back. We talked about the young players. Again, this is not a team built for the year. 1-7 on the offensive line. And those teams we can spend less time on is fine. Great receivers with Juju Smith-Schuster and Odell Beckham. Maybe you'll see some 3 wide here. He's got a 0 on the offensive line, pass blocking. 1-7, 2 4s, and a 5, so sacks can be a problem. No good running backs cards at all, Mixon and Abdullah. 3-4 defense. Again, he's not planning on competing. 6-4-4, 0-5-0-0, Dennis. 4-5 corners, 5-5 safeties. This team's going to struggle. We'll save some time on them because it's a future-oriented team. And I'm going to predict an unsuccessful season for starters.
Well, it's successful if you want to get a high draft pick.
Yes, that's true. A lot of pretty competitive teams. Lawrence is a good coach. I should probably guess a little worse, but I'm going to guess a little worse. I'm going to go 3-13.
You stole my thunder. That's my prediction too. He's already 0-3, so I know that Lawrence is good enough with that offense to steal some wins. But right now, it's looking like he's on the path to a top 5 pick.
Now, where will that put him in the lottery?
I don't know. There is no lottery. That was not voted in.
That's right. That was a facetious question. The LA Chargers. LA Chargers going to have to do
a little TJ action.
Indeed. The world famous Chargers, Dennis. Had a great roster for so many years. They've been, and in the last three of the last 5 years in the playoffs, 15-1, 15-1, 12-4, but a first round playoff exit each time. TJ and I having that in common. I was 25-7 the last 2 years, first round exit. I think it was 6-10 in between. So a very strange 5-year run here for the Chargers. It's been good cop, bad cop, going back to 2010. Playoffs, no playoffs, playoffs, no playoffs, playoffs, no playoffs, playoffs. So that means that this year, no playoffs. All right, moving on to the next team. Oh, no. All right, let's see. Yes. The LA Chargers. And the team is aging. He's keeping Brady. He's trying to retool. The results are mixed. Neither fish nor fowl to some extent.
You get the feeling that TJ will never be one that will just sell everybody off. He values his players too highly, and there's nothing wrong with that. But you're not going to be making a lot of deals and deciding to go all in for the future. If he doesn't get a first round pick or second round pick for Donald Penn, he's not trading him, which is kind of ridiculous because Donald Penn's not worth a first or second round pick. But that's how he values him, and so he'll stay on his team until he's out of the league.
Yeah, well, that was how he was valuing the players a year or two ago, a couple of years ago, when he aggressively tried to do the wholesale fire sale thing. And it's not for everyone doing that, and I guess it's not for TJ, but it's true. Look, if you're going to do a wholesale fire sale thing, number one, you have to be a good drafter. TJ has a good history of drafting. Of course, now the league is a much stronger drafting environment than it was even 8, 9, 10 years ago. Pre-PFF and stuff like that. And number two, you have to be willing to trade some guys at a discount because you're not likely to get exactly what you want for every single guy. Right. But I mean, 2 years ago, getting a mid-2 for Donald Penn at 34 at that time or whatever, or even 33 maybe, was not really that unreasonable to me.
Right.
But to TJ, it was unacceptable. And that's his right, and he's had success. I know he went 15-1 last year. You don't know that you're going to lose in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? You got to still try to get there.
No, 15-1 a couple years ago. 12-4 last year, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 12-4 last year, and and lost to Paul 27-9 in the playoffs. But 12-4 and a bye. So I mean, you don't know what's going to happen until the postseason. I mean, he had a good team, he had a good season, and take your chances in the playoffs. So. Nothing wrong with that. So let's look at the team in the field. Brady, I have as a number 4 QB this year. Flappy's got 5. Does have 5 incomplete, so he's human. He's also got 18-23 on the short pass, followed by 8-14 on the long pass. So just like Phil Rivers, I think it was, when you have those nice wrong columns, the short pass, long pass wrong, especially long pass wrong, you want to be able to run the ball and have some good receivers. You can get some guess wrong downfield plays. Dennis is always good at getting those opportunities. I noticed when I call your games, but here the running game does not seem to be there. As Tariq Cohen, Dennis, at 87 carries, appears to be his lead running back. I actually don't mind this card as like a backup card. Kind of a cute little card. Maybe do some things off tackle because it is 5 units of that stuff, and a pretty good receiver. The flat pass right yard is not that great, but otherwise fine. But as a lead back, As a lead back, no, thank you. You know what I'm saying? Then you got Jalen Richard, 56 carries, 4.9. He doesn't look too bad either. But none of these backs are really going to take the pressure off of Brady, I'll tell you that much. What will help will be these 3 7s on the offensive line and 2 4s. Also has good blocking there. It'll be a blocking back formation because Gates can play blocking back. And you got Jordy Nelson, who is not the same player he was. 53 catches, a 9.1 average. Another guy he didn't want to trade away. So that's a 915 card. Deep. Alshon Jeffrey is excellent usually. 57 catches despite being injured, 13.8. And even he is 12, 18 deep is fine, 1926. More of a number 2 card. Jimmy Graham, like you can see, you talk about the aging of the team. You look at Jordy Nelson and Jimmy Graham and Antonio Gates, and even their cards, which are still helpful, are not the cards that you saw 3 or 4 years ago when these guys had, Pro Bowl seasons and maxed out cards.
Right. I think this, if one of us had these teams and we wanted to keep going, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, this is a competitive team with a lot of pieces, but it's lacking that big back to make a difference on the offensive side. Yeah,
well, I think that's one of TJ's things is that he did not want to blow up the team because he wasn't getting enough. And again, he still doesn't want to blow up the team, evidently. He's going to ride Brady and see what he can do. But he also doesn't want to trade his picks and go too much for the year. I mean, so I feel like you're kind of stuck in no man's land. I mean, to have Brady and like no running back, really, I don't know how far you're going to go with that,
Right. Maybe he's trying to mimic what's going on in the NFL now, where some guys, they don't run the ball more than 10 times a game and they just pass all the time. Maybe we'll see him do a Dale where he goes 3 wide all game and tries to, march his way down the field that way without a running game. Although Dale had Juwan Howard, so different situation.
And his third receiver isn't that great. It's Cole Beasley, and whereas Antonio Gates is the blocking back. So I think even if he wants to fly, I think he'll stay blocking back. And the time expired. It's a super fast defense. 4-3 defense. Oh my God! Look how the mighty have fallen. 4-4-4-5, 4-0-4, 6-6-5-5. I mean, no wonder we didn't trade for running back, but this defense is just not good, Dennis. There's no way around it. The secondary is great, but that front seven, when you can run or throw a flat pass at will in this SOMIFA rule set in the modern game, very hard to stop someone. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree with that. So
even though he's got the good pass rush.
So he made the playoffs last year. This is his not making the playoffs year. So what do you say? I'm going to say I'm going to say 6-10.
That's what I was going to say also. We're thinking alike tonight. 6-10 for me as well. I feel slightly shaky for the 13 and beyond. Although great after the 40. 6-10 for me as well. Just the front seven, it's going to be difficult, and the team is doing on the running game. It's going to be a frustrating year, I think, for TJ. LA Rams. This is Wayne Unruh, former SOMIFA champion, as Wayne won the title way back in, I probably still have him as St. Louis. Hold on.
And Wayne went off with a little get off my lawn rant on SOMIFA's forum about people changing the rules. So
I'll have to read up on that. Yeah. I've been neglecting it. I just won't use my linebackers to double team anybody. Back in 04, Dennis. Speaking of getting off our lawns, Wayne won the title. That's a nice way to join the league. You're 4-12 the first year of the league as the league starts. Then you would 26. Then you go 26-5 in the next 2 years and win a Super Bowl. 14-1-1 in 03, and then 12-4 with the Super Bowl victory in 04. So very nice for Wayne. Way back, if you want to go with Professor Peabody's way back machine. Recent years, it's been a rebuild job. 5-11, 2-14, 5-11. But now I think he's ready to compete. He traded Garoppolo away, got some assets for that. Got Carson Wentz in the fold, drafted Leonard Fournette.
He's got a crazy good secondary. Although Fournette's card's not great for this year. It's a good long-term player, but
Malcolm Brown. It'll be Malcolm Brown, and not really a great second guy. So, and Wentz's card is not great. It's okay. He can do the end run. You'll see some of that. But he's got the old-fashioned end run quarterback card with all the horrible minuses on the front. Not the Cam Newton, Russell Wilson, for those guys who do it more regularly. So once again, we're seeing a trend here, Dennis. Third straight team, I think. Brady had 5. But 7 incomplete guess wrong on the 5 pass. Short pass 2, 6, 12. 16 short pass right, despite completing only 60% of his passes. And he has 8 must-run chances with a pretty decent must-run. That's fodder for those who say that you're short pass right column was helped by a lot of touchdown passes. Wentz did throw, I think, 30-something touchdowns, 33. So people think that I've not seen that. I've not seen that bear fruit, but it's possible. 16, 19, 22, 16, 23. So the long pass, short pass wrong is really good. 5, 12 with some help from the running. So a good enough card for Wentz if the rest of the team is good. Malcolm Brown will lead the better running back with that end run wrong card that we all like. The end run right's not too horrible considering it's an end run right card for a backup running back. Doesn't receive well. This Fournette card is not that good. So he really could have used another decent back for the year. He did draft Austin Eckler, who's not too big. Guess wrong, Dennis.
Oh, there you go. How many carries does he have?
56. Oh, only 47. So never mind. He's only he's only playing short yardage, and he's thinking it's not right. So that's not going to help. Damian Williams, I don't think does much. No, he's also under 50
below 50.
Yeah, so he did not splurge. Now it's a young team, so he said, you know what, I'm not going to go crazy for this year, but I want to at least be competitive and not go 4-12 again. But he could really, really like if you have a decent team, you want to make sure you have at least like 31 decent or pretty good unfatigued carries, at least guess wrong if they're any kind of quarterback, so you can run it as needed. Otherwise, it can be hard to get the offense going at times. What do you think about that, Dennis?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true.
And then you go ahead, Dennis.
No, go ahead.
And then you factor into that the team doesn't have good pass blocking. I mean, Wentz is not a great flat pass quarterback. Well, he's a 7 at center, and the rest of 4 is Dennis at a left tackle 5. So it's not like you can launch it down the field. You're going to take some sacks if you do that. And you only have the one good running back, and even the run blocking not that great. Left tackle 5. The rest of the guys are 4s. So you don't have that to help out.
I will say this though:
a lackluster running game. Good.
He's already off to a 2-0 start. But the teams he's beaten are Kansas City and Dallas. So
we both predict under 500. It's got Devin Funchess, Ted Ginn, and Charles Clay. Not the best receivers in the world either. Is Funchess decent this year? 63
I think
13-3.
It's just
he's a number 2 type of guy, but only 9-15 deep. So yeah, okay. And Ginn, I think, is like a 12-18 deep. I can tell we're going with the clock. He's only got 16-22 short. 4-3 defense. Goes 6-4-4-5. That's unusual. 4-4-0. See that it's the linebackers this year. Just the people are going to get killed with these linebackers. We've all got them though, so there's like an equal disadvantage as you pointed out earlier.
Yeah, the timer did go off, but I
okay 6-4. I'll speed it up. 6-4-4-5. 4-4-0. The great secondary corner 6 is so helpful. 5 safety, 6 free safety.
Yeah, all 6s, baby.
Yeah, so next, the strong safety is a 5.
I was saying for Gilchrist, yeah.
Yeah, the free safety is going to be living in the flats as he lets his the rest of his secondary play man, and that's going to help this defense out a lot. And we know Wayne is a good coach, and when he finally has some personnel here, very interesting team to figure out. Like that's and there's a lot of that. A lot of teams league that with some good at certain things, not that good at other things. Or don't seem terribly weak at anything.
Right.
Hard to figure out. The kicking game a little weak with Crosby, only 2-8-12 from the 13. Don't like that. Boy, what are we gonna do with this team? I think I'm gonna go 8-8, Dennis.
I'm going 10-6. They're gonna use that 2-0 boost to make the playoffs.
There you go.
Wayne is back.
I forgot the corner 6. Maybe I should give him a little more. Maybe I should go 9-7. Hold on. Corner 6s. I know he's going to use that safety to his advantage. I believe him. I'll get 9-7. I'll bump it up. 9-7. Too harsh in some of these guys. Good, Dennis.
Do we call him Wayne or do you call him Will? I just noticed his email says Will now.
Oh, does it?
So it's a mystery. We'll leave that one off for the postseason.
You're not confusing him with David Will, are you?
No, and his email it says Will as his first name. So we'll leave that to find out.
Will Wayne win?
Exactly.
I don't know. We will win some games certainly. We both have them over 500, and at least the mini playoffs. Miami Dolphins squish the fish, as we Jet fans like to say. Dan Morin's club, and that's your job, Dennis. You're like the personnel guy. You know all these guys. Full names, marital status, children, occupation, professional history. You know everything. So
I got my dossier.
Yeah. You got to find. You got to find out if it's Wayne or Will. It's Wayne.
That sounds good.
I think it's what it says on the SOMIFA roster. So, on the Wayne for 15 years, he never said anything. So,
Exactly.
yeah, the Miami Dolphins. As you're about an hour from kickoff, by the way.
Yep.
This is
Dan. Yep.
See what Dan did.
Yep. Dan came in, took a team that both of us probably would look at and say, there's no way this team's making the playoffs. Made a ton of trades to get some vets. And he made the mini playoffs, but then lost.
No, he made the
regular, whatever that one is, the 9-7 group. Isn't that called the mini playoffs? No, that's called the...
There is a mini playoffs, but he was in the regular playoffs because Ed does not count the mini playoffs as postseason games. So on my grid, I do not count them as postseason games. So here he has a 9-7 with a star, means he made the playoffs, and the 0-1 is what he did in the playoffs. If there was no mini playoffs, he would have got Arizona 9-7, no asterisk, and no record next to it. So
got it. And then those veterans didn't quite live up to his expectations last year, missed out, and now he's kind of, to me, he's going for not a total rebuild, but at least a retooling.
Well, yeah. Well, he traded the 2 first-round picks for Andy Dalton last year. That hasn't worked out great so far because he did not make the playoffs last year. And he's got Dalton's card this year, which is not that great of a card. But I think because he has a good running back and Alex Collins, Dalton can be effective. I don't think Dalton is terrible. He's number 24.
But Dalton's having a good season so far in the NFL this year, which is got to be encouraging to him.
Yeah, I got Dalton number 24 in my rankings for quarterback for the year. Dan's a good coach. This will be an interesting thing to look at. Now, of course, he lost Bridgewater, and then last year he had like 7 punts blocked in his SOMIFA season, which is unheard of. So Dalton completed only 59.9, 2.4. Again, flat pass 7 only, complete. We're seeing a lot of that. And then 6-10. The must run is.
If you want to, I have that already done on my spreadsheet. So if you want to just tell me what are the hits on short for any quarterback in the future, I can do that.
All right, you'll do it immediately.
Yeah,
I'll do it pretty quickly, but it's fine.
Yeah, I'm just saying if you want
I generally
push that off on me.
I generally bring up the guy's card. You're right. Yeah, okay. What are Dalton the short and long hits?
So 12-18 short, 5-12 long.
All right, so 12-18 short, 5-12 long. Not bad. But that's in that range where I think you can definitely win with this card, no doubt about it. And then what helps a lot is you got Alex Collins running the ball, very late round pick, like 9th or 10th round pick for Dan, I believe. Really came through in a big way with one of the better cards. I've got him pretty high up there. Number 6, I think, overall. And that's including things like receiving and fumbling. His fumble number is a little higher than you like, 27. But it says something like for this card to be like 6th in the set. Like it's a pretty good card, but most years this would be a few spots lower, like 10, 11, 12. There's not a lot of good running back cards this set. So that helps if you're Dan. I like the end run wrong. Only the off tackle, the linebacker, it's just a nice card. You do very well with this linebacker. Some blocking would definitely help this card. Receiving not great, but the yardage of wrong is pretty good. Who's his number 2 back? Who's better, Dennis Rodgers or Jaquiz Rodgers or Robert Turbin?
Rodgers.
Okay, Rodgers 64 carries, 3.8. He's all right off tackle. Dan sprinkles these guys in for a few carries and does a good job pacing his attempts, but he's going to have to. I wish he had a little better back as the backup. He's got 1-6 in the offensive line run block. The rest of the guys are 4s, so not a lot of help for Collins there. He does have 2 7s pass blocking, but also a 3 at center and 2 5s. Center's not a bad spot to have that 3. A lot of those tackles can't rush. Play a 4-3, that could be an issue. Got Jarvis Landry, Pierre Garçon, Martellus Bennett, Tyler Croft. I'm just see a lot of West Coast action. I don't know if Seth Roberts is good enough to justify a 3 wide. 7-12, 10-2. Dan's pretty good. Dan's pretty good at finding a way to get his offense going. Is dinner ready?
That's it. That's 5 o'clock. I mean, that's 5 minutes.
Supper?
There we go.
Okay. So 4-3 defense real quick. 5-5-4-4, 0-4-4, 4-4-5-5.
Now, I
So
will say he made a late trade with me, giving me Calais Campbell and Richard Sherman in exchange for Xavier Howard and Derek Barnett. So that weakened his defense for this year, but probably strengthened it long term.
Yeah, so he definitely has, I think, gone for more of a future-oriented approach. But Dan, like he has said, and like we talked about, he's not like selling the farm and trying to totally rebuild. He's like, all right, I've got some young players, but he still would like to be competitive this year. I don't like this team overall. I think the main problem I have is with this front seven on defense. You got these fours on the right side. You got weak linebackers, including a 0. You're playing a 4-3 with a 0-4-4 against the pass and 2-4 the defensive line. I've said this for years, Dennis. 4-3 defense with a weak front seven. They get West Coasted to death. And then the downfield secondary is not even that great. And he's got Everson Griffin, who's a 12, and they'll have some moments with his pass rush into blitzing because he likes to. But overall, I think the team will struggle. I like Dan's coaching, but I'm going to have to ding the team a little bit. I think I won't go too bad because I know Dan's feisty, and he's going to, bust his ass to win every game. I'm going to give him a 7 and 9, Dennis, but it could be a little worse than that possibly. But I'm going to give him a 7 and 9.
Yeah, I'm going to go 5 and 11. I think it is going to be worse. I think that he is going to struggle with that Dalton card without a second back. Alex Collins is going to have some big games, and that'll carry him. But I'll go 6 and 10.
Yeah, I'm getting Collins. I think is what's giving me some extra love for the team. Minnesota, the defending champions, Dale Ripley, believe it or not. Every year we say that.
Congratulations, Dale.
Congratulations, Dale. It was his 10th season in the league. You see, he struggled then. I see talking about guys improving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dale's first 5 years in the SOMIFA, he was only above 500 once. He was 6 and 10, 4 and 12, and 3 and 13 in 3 of those years. Only made the playoffs once. Then in 2012, he started 8, 7 and 1, 10 and 6, 10 and 6, 5 and 11, 10 and 6, and a championship last year. Congratulations to Dale. 3 years out of 4 in the playoffs. And he traded again to go for the year, which last year I thought was a mistake. Obviously, I was wrong because he won the Super Bowl. This year now he's got Brian Hoyer returning as a starting quarterback, Dennis. But I don't think he's going to get out of Mr. Hoyer what he got out of him last year. I have Hoyer as the number 40 quarterback in the set. What are his hits like, Dennis?
Hoyer's hits are... Hold on, I got some weird message going on my phone.
Okay, all right, you take care of that. Now he's got 6. First of all, the flat pass split is on 10, and he's far from max with 6 incomplete.
Hoyer is 9-18 short and 2-8 deep.
Hoyer has a pretty bad card.
That's bad.
I got number 40 in the set, and even the flat pass isn't that good. Dennis 6 incomplete gets wrong with an interception split on 10. Then you got Jordan Howard's card, which also I don't think is that great this year. It's a chunky card. You're gonna try to roll at 11 off tackle plus 50. You can run end run wrong with him. He's pretty good at the end run wrong. Pretty more consistent. But it's not a great card. He always has good receivers. Let's assume he runs a 4 wide again. Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, Amari Cooper, and Tyler Lockett. Okay.
So I just got a salmonella warning from products that we purchased at the grocery store. Isn't that weird? Technology, I guess they know your customer loyalty number and they dial you up and let you know. So there you have
Absolutely. Well, don't eat any of the salmonella, Dennis. That's my advice.
I'm going to hold off on the sal. Easy sal.
That's right. Offensive line, he doesn't care that much with the run blocking, but even the pass blocking this week. I cannot see a 4 wide with this flat pass card. 5, 6 incomplete, 10, 12. Having sustained success. What do you think, Dennis?
I know he's trying to defend his title. He traded away all his draft picks to fill holes and get some veteran 5s on defense. But this offense is going nowhere with Brian Hoyer, even if he only passes flat. I just can't see it doing much. At least last year's card, he was able to go short on 3rd and long, and I think Jordan Howard had a much better card last year than this year.
Well, Jordan Howard had a top card last year. This year's a chunky card. And also, Brian Hoyer was maxed out flat last year, Dennis. This year is far from that. What when you talk about trading draft picks, did he also trade next year's picks?
No, did not trade next year's picks.
Okay.
He only traded all of his picks in this year's draft.
Howard does have pretty solid yardage on the line book right. But guess wrong, he's not going to give you, those good short gains and the higher end positive yardage that he was giving you consistently last year, even when you factor in the wide die rule. Maybe you'll see more off tackle, but I think the offense is going to struggle. I think he pulled it off last year. Look, last year was only 10-6 regular season. Also, he did well in the playoffs, so it wasn't like he was 14-2. But this Hoyer card, I think you need pretty much like the flat pass max or close to max quarterback to pull that off. I would say. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, last year was like one of those 9-7 Giants teams that got hot and won 4 in a row to win the Super Bowl, or the Ravens 2012 Joe Flacco just got red hot in the playoffs and won the Super Bowl.
So yeah, I mean, he did a great job, and his strategy worked well for him. So we certainly, so he deserves a ton of credit for that, of course. But the Hoyer card this year is not our Hoyer's card last year.
Yeah, the strength of this team this year is the defense. You're looking at it.
That's right. 5-5-5-5 defensive line with 10-10-12. So that looks good. 4-5-4 linebackers. 5-5-4-5. The pass rush is good, but it's still a flat pass oriented league. I'll tell you, even with the fives of the defensive line, these 4-3 run defenses play well against the run. Maybe I need to try them out a little bit since they have a lot of success, as Dan and others have pointed out. Secondary 5-5-4-5, but I think overall Hoyer will hold the team back. Bad opponent punt returns hurt you because a lot of those get returned. The return game is okay, but a lot of touchbacks anyway in the kickoffs. And the kicker is okay, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of this team. I'm going to go 6-10, Dennis.
All right, I'm going to ding him even worse. I'm going to go 5-11.
All right, give the championship punch. Now I have to admit that we're probably both way under 500 now, right?
Yes, both way under 500.
All right, we beat the clock that time. New York Jets, my team. Let's keep me on the clock. That's for sure. So Dennis,
I'm going to reboot my machine while you talk because I have some really weird memory lag going on. So I need to restart my machine.
When you come back on, look at my team quickly so you can do a prediction. I'm still going to try to hold myself to 6 minutes. Okay. All right. So my Jets, looking at the year by year, I've made the playoffs 3 of the last 4 years. 1, 2, 3, 5 of the last 7. I didn't know that. All right, that's cool. I was 25-7 the last 2 years. Last year I had the number 1 seed for the first time ever in SOMIFA, but I lost to the playoffs each time, losing overtime last year to our good friend Ron Dickinson. No Andrew Luck, as you all know. So I got Ryan Fitzpatrick for this year. I am 1-0. I would beat Green Bay in my opener. Fitzpatrick has a good must run, 2-10, 4 yards or more. Not great yardage, but 2-5 is 11 or more. It's not bad. Flat pass wrong is not good. The short pass, however, 2-6, 10, 11, 11-16, which is bad. But when you throw in the 8 must runs, and he's got a pretty good must running card, that short pass right becomes much more palatable. You got to watch out for the interception 2-4 and 12 on a 10. So that's like maybe like a 2-6, 11 and 12 or worse on that 11, I believe. However, the short pass interceptions have been slightly weakened by STRAT, so that helps slightly, but that'll be an issue for this team. Long pass goes 3, 7, 9, 10 with 8 must runs on the right again. So not a good quarterback card. The turnovers are pretty low, including the snap, fumble, and stuff. That's why I think he came out decently in my rankings for a guy that was cheap. 25th. Look, I'm picking up a stopgap for the year. He goes like a 7 and a 9. It's 25th in the set. I got Matt Moore as the backup, who is great with the flat passing. Virtually maxed out, but he has a high pick, and it's on 10. 2-5 and 12 goes right, 2-4. And we know what happens with those flat pass interceptions. And he just throws so many, and he's so terrible the rest of the card. A lot of picks that people would sit on the flat, so I'm not planning on using him, but maybe selectively. I thought Devonta Freeman would be my lead back, but I used Corey Clement, Christian McCaffrey, and Frank Gore more in the season opener. Freeman's got the best rushing card, but he has a high fumble. I like his flat pass wrong receiving a lot. He is a 0-0 blocker, which hurts you against low asterisks. Frank Gore is not that great. Okay, kind of wrong, but his fumble number is more palatable. Corey Clement, also not that great, but a low fumble number. Pretty good flat pass yardage for him. 8 + 11 gets right, but not a very good receiving card. And then Christian McCaffrey really can't run much at all. A little better on the linebacker right than you would think. But I guess wrong card is pretty bad. And receiving, though, he's very good with the short pass and even 5-10 deep. Flat pass, pretty decent. 7 only complete. Good yardage rolling. The right yardage is okay. +8, +7, +5 here. But not great. Julio Jones maxed out, of course. Cooper Kupp, I think, is only 5-10 deep. He is, but he's 19-26 short with some pretty good yardage. A couple long games and a reasonable flat pass card. Zach Ertz is one of the better tight end cards in the set. Maxed out, flat and short with 9-15 deep, which is not bad for a tight end. Blocking 0, though. 3 sevens with the pass blocking, which is very good. You'd like to have seen a little more run blocking on this team. I can punch in the backup offensive tackle 5-2 for the start of 4-5. And if I go blocking back, then I have a strong left side 5-5-6. So depending on matchups and game situations, I could possibly do that. The defense plays a 3-4, which is pretty good. Goes 5-6-5. That's Kenny Clark, the nose tackle 6. Goes 4-6-4-4 linebacker. 5s throughout the secondary. Strong safety is only a 4, though. Pass rush could be a little better. Kicker is a little shaky. Special teams not as good as usual for me, particularly the kicker. 2-9. Field goal for the 3-12. 2-8 and 12 for the 13. So that's a problem. I'm gonna go.
I'm back, by the way.
Okay, I'm gonna go 7-9 for my team, Dennis.
Little Fitzmagic action on the fringe of the playoffs.
Yeah. I think that Fitzpatrick's must running gives me an element of a short pass, long pass game, and I have good receiving targets. And my running backs can run gets wrong a little bit. Defense isn't bad. I should probably pick the team to do worse. Probably 6-10, 5-11, but I feel like that'd be a bit of a cop out. I usually do +1 better with these types of teams, so I'll predict 7-9. What do you got for me?
Yeah, you're talking me down here. I have you at 9-7, and a little bit of fun first round playoff action, even if you don't do totally great in that.
I'm just certainly trying to make the playoffs and do something. And I do have a bit of a weaker schedule than usual, but I'm just trying to evaluate the team. But yeah, I'm good.
There's the alarm. I had looked. I'll stick with that. I'll stick with 9-7. I think you're already off to a 1-0 start. The running game will help offset Fitzpatrick's kind of mediocre short pass card. Yeah, the 11-16. 13-17 is good flat. You can go 3 wide and try to do some things. 11-16 short is like I said, below average, to say the least. So we'll see.
But he does have the 8 must runs, Dennis. He's pretty good at it, so that helps a lot with that short pass right. Okay, so you give me 9-7. I got myself 7-9. Okay, the G-Men, Joe Golden.
The G-Men!
Coming off of a fresh early season SFFDL victory over Dennis Crowley Seahawks.
Yes, he's got a really strong team over there. Jimmy Garoppolo, aforementioned Jimmy Garoppolo is his quarterback.
Now, what are we dealing with here, Dennis? Are we dealing with blocking back with Niles Paul or 2 tight ends with Garrett Selleck?
I have no idea. How do we check that?
Well, we don't. I was just asking. I figured you knew the cards. Because you know the cards so well, usually you would know what was more likely for him.
I don't think it's Niles Paul.
It is certainly not Niles Paul.
I don't remember that card. That's why I was like, I don't think I've never chased him in any leagues this year. So Garrett Selleck's going to be better.
Firmly ensconced on the bench. Oh yeah, Garrett Selleck has a 16-yard average and the low reception, high yardage flat pass card.
Yeah, it's kind of a nice card.
So you got Alex Smith at quarterback, Dennis. I know I've got him fairly high up. I didn't do Jersey Joe's year by year.
I can get those.
Joe Golden, part of the new wave of SOMIFA coaches, Dennis, who came in the last 3 or 4 years, Dan Moore and Joe Golden, Mick Bouchon, who we knew from other leagues. I don't lump Jeff Wendland in with those guys because I know those other 3 guys in so many leagues, but maybe I should. But there was a group of 3 or 4 guys that came in a few years ago. Joe now entering his 3rd full season in SOMIFA. We know him from so many leagues. 6-10, 10-6 for the playoffs last year before losing to
I don't remember.
Oh, the eventual champion Vikings, 31-9.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
rough. That must have been a rough game.
Alex Smith is the quarterback, one of the better ones in the set. Mathematically,
Yes.
now this is purely mathematics, he was my number 2 quarterback
Wow.
in the set, and that's just by mathematical formula, and that's not where I would probably place him in a BR thing, but it's probably a good card regardless.
16-19 short and 6'10" long, but I know he has great must runs.
Well, he's got 8 must runs, and I would not say great. It's pretty good. 2 to 7, 6 yards or more, but 2 to 9, 4 yards or more. It's good enough. I think he's been a little better the last 2 years. Certainly the end run was better the last couple of years. This is not really an end run quarterback that you want to use unless you can roll the 2 plus 70. Can you repeat those numbers for me, Dennis?
16-19 short and 6'10" deep. 19-24 on the flats.
All right, and the 16-19 short, you're getting 8 plus 8 must runs. So that's real nice, especially if you have some good pass blocking. The 5 pass is almost maxed. Very low turnover quarterback. That's kind of his forte. And this card is better is pretty good overall. Pretty solid all around card. It probably would not be number 2 because the long pass I would probably go for somebody else if I was like ranking them for a BR draft. But it's still going to be a top 7 type of card, I believe. Let's see what Joe's got to run the ball. You got Wayne Gallman, whose card I think is pretty decent, Dennis. So we kind of like that, right?
Top 10 card for the year, I think.
Yeah, in that neighborhood with the guest roll on the receiving, not that great, but 0-4 helps. You got Isaiah Crowell, I think, is also pretty decent, right, Dennis?
He's chunky, but end run is probably his best column for consistency. End run rolling.
You're gonna watch out for these 7-6 guess right. Yeah, Troll is chunkier than you'd like. Short yardage linebacker guess wrong, not too bad. His guess right is not that great. That hurts a little bit. I thought he had a better receiving card than that. And who else is there? C.J. Anderson is even worse, even chunkier this year.
Right.
Yeah. Good. Okay. So that second running back spot, not that great. That could be a problem for the Giants this year. And Dennis, as I alluded to earlier, as I even mentioned earlier, like a lot of the teams, like they're not like as you're seeing, Dennis, they're not like real bad, but even like teams that might be pretty good have got a couple of things that they might not be great at, or a lot of teams like okay, they're not bad, but they're not great at a lot at things. You know what I'm saying?
And yeah, and I have a little bit of an advantage over you with Joe's team because I played him already, and I beat him. He's actually started off 0-2. He's also lost to Jay. But I remember it being a tough game. For the first half, he was hanging right in there. The final score didn't look like it, but it was certainly not an easy win, especially with all that good pass blocking.
Well, I like the way that Joe is operating in all these keeper leagues. He drafted young players for a couple of years, got a team to a place where they're pretty good, and now he continues to add young players, but also makes trades for the year. So he's in sort of that, Jay Villing, NFL Ed school. Zeb, I would put in that school also, where they don't want to concede for the year unless they're absolutely horrible, and they usually feel they're pretty good all around team. Some years maybe with a couple of weaknesses and stuff like that. So here now the offensive line, I love this. You got 3 sevens. I like the pass blocking, Dennis, especially when you have a quarterback with a pretty good short pass right and some good must running. So that can be a bread and butter for them with that short pass right. Also, he's pretty good flat, so the dump off is a little more effective. He's got some decent run blocking here with 2 6s and a 5. If he has a good blocking back, he doesn't, so he can't really take advantage of the left side blocking as readily as if you had like a guy to bring in for that. Not the backslide, that's good guess right anyway. Chris Hogan, only a 12.9 average. Receiving threats are a bit of a problem. O.J. Howard's got a very good card.
Yeah.
Torrey Smith, 11.9. How the money have fallen. So that's a problem. You have the good quarterback in Alex Smith, but O.J. Howard's kind of the only target you really want to throw to. Garrett Selleck's not too bad either, but so there's some things. So the backup running back, the guess right running game, and the receiving targets are negatives for the offense, Dennis. Well, that with Alex Smith and the offensive line being positives. 3-4 defense goes 6-4-5, 4-0-6-4. Luke Kuechly, the 6-6, will be spending a lot of time on line of scrimmage to help that nose tackle 4, or standing there or sliding out, doing something where, people hopefully throwing at him. He has the 6-5 corners, which helps any defense. Only 4s at safety. Joe's a good coach. Has got some pass rush on the defensive line and a 7 left outside, 8 right outside, so a little blitzing could help. So that's intriguing to me. I'll take a look at the special teams. Surrenders a block punt. The kicker is pretty good. Steven Hauschka, including 2, 7, and 12, 33 to 39. That'll help me go to win team, Dennis.
Nice.
My draft position. So interesting. I think Joe's a good coach. I have a high opinion of Joe's coaching. I think the defense will play fairly well. I like this. When you're 3-4, if you have to have a weak nose tackle, at least have the good defensive ends. So you don't have to worry about that, you know?
And he has a 6 inside linebacker that can plug.
Exactly. So I really like having 5 pluses at defensive end if I'm playing a 3-4. Because I don't have to worry about getting hit on the end run. We have the 4 out there. You get hit. I know that you like to play. You don't care about that as much. You put a good blitzing linebacker behind him and you blitz the guy a lot. And that's your style, which works well for you.
I need to nickel corner 5.
I need to study and improve and learn how to effectively use pass rush in Stratomatic modern leagues.
Oh, please. You're fine.
Now with pass rush. I could get better at this. I'm going to incorporate the pass rush.
We should all strive to get better, but I think you're selling yourself a little short there. There's our timer.
There's our timer. So I think the record for Joe. I know I'm a good coach, but I'm weak in that area, and I want to work in that. I like Joe's coaching. I think the defense can do well. I like Alex Smith. I wish he had more to work with, backup running back or receiving targets. But I still got to dig in a little bit. Maybe I'm being too harsh here, Dennis. I want to go 8-8, but maybe I should put Joe at 9-7. I believe in Joe Golden. Now I'm going to tough league.
0-2 start.
0-2 start. 0-2 start. You're killing me there. I'm going to give him. I'm going to give him the bounce back anyway. I'm going to go 9-7 for Joe Golden, despite the 0-2. How about that?
That's impressive. I'm going 7-9. I think that the 0-2 start has put him in a hole that it will be tough to climb out of.
He does play NFL Ed, half man, half Mankiewicz. Mick, I know, is a decent team. Dave Scott, my New York Jets, Indianapolis. I'm going to go down to 8-8. It's got some tough teams remaining.
Okay.
Portable down, tough schedule remaining. I mean, tough enough. When you're already 0-2, you don't need, the tougher games make it tougher. That's some great insight, Dennis. The tougher teams make it tougher.
I can't argue with that. So
the Las Vegas Raiders. This is
down
Jeff.
Down to the black hole.
Yes, Jeff Pevier, right?
Yes.
Now I'm going to take a quick digression of about 45 seconds to say that I believe my opinion that Jeff had grossly overpaid for Tyrod Taylor has been validated. What do you think, Dennis?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but who didn't think that he would lose the starting quarterback job sooner rather than later? And when you have the number 1 overall pick, who had a crazy completion percentage in college, and is not 21 like Sam Darnold, but instead is 24, 25. Everybody knew Baker Mayfield was going to come in and be the starter as quickly as soon as Tyrod got hurt, dinged up a little bit, or had a bad game and a half or something like that. And that's what happened.
Or even if the club was like 4-6.
Right.
They said, 4-7, let's just get the rookie in there. Now, in fairness to Jeff Dennis, I'm sure he figured, if I recall him saying, hey, look, I've got Tyrod Taylor. He's going to be playing to start the year. And if that doesn't work out, I've got Sam Bradford, Dennis, who, for Arizona should have no problems.
Did Tyrod get to at least 100 pass attempts before he got benched? I'll look that up while you talk.
Is Kevin Hogan having a good year?
He's not.
Dennis, if Tyrod got to 100 attempts, which I don't think he did, I'm almost certain he did not. They are 100 very ugly attempts. He was not playing well. So Jeff's going to need a quarterback next year, Dennis. But the good news is that he has a hell of a team this year. This could be a Super Bowl contender, Dennis. And then they're going to have to be, because next year is going to quarterback. We got Tyrod Taylor, a quarterback.
84 attempts, by the way.
Okay. Who is 2 to 8 plus 6 or better on the must run. 9 is only plus 2. The end run rule is real nice. 6, 7, 8. This is a legit Super Bowl contender. Very low turnover quarterback. Vintage Tyrod Taylor card. He's had these cards now for 3 or 4 years. I have it number 15 to a mathematical. The running quarterbacks tend to do a little better with me when they can run. 5 only incomplete flat pass wrong. What are his splits, short and deep, Dennis?
All right. He is looking at 11-16 short and 2-8 deep. So he's not great. 17-11 flat. which is where his bread and butter.
but you have to factor in the must runs.
Right.
He's at 11-16 short with 13 units of must run, Dennis.
Nice.
And there's 2 to 8 plus 6 or more. So that's giving you practically like another 7 completions. Not short pass first down completions, but second and 8, you throw a short pass right with Tyrod Taylor on his card. It's like 19 out of 36, plus 6 or better or something. So, and that's not even including a dump ball possibility. And he has look at the offensive line, one of the strongest ones we've seen tonight. He's got 2 7s, center and left guard, left tackle in 4. That hurts. But the run blocking, Dennis, center 6, right tackle 6, and the rest all 5s. Wow. That is very nice run block. The best we've seen. Not a lot of teams have good blocking both ways this year in our league. And Todd Gurley will be the beneficiary, Dennis. Gurley has the best overall card in my formula, but that includes receiving. If you looked rushing only, he's at maybe 3rd or something like that, including the fumble, I forget. It's not a great card. It's more like a solid, consistent card. It's kind of like Marshawn Lynch's Oakland Raider card, except the 2 and 12s are big runs instead of only being like plus 21.
Yeah, but this is, you're saying it's not a historically great card, but in this set, it's a great card.
It is. And you know what I'm thinking, Dennis, is maybe the reason I'm digging so many of these teams, as I'm realizing now, is because a lot of them just don't have good running cards because they just don't exist. So at the very end, I may really have to do some significant alterations and bump up a lot of teams because it's like the linebackers. If you have all 4s and I have all 4s, it's a wash. If you've got, only an okay second running back and I only have an okay second running back, it's a wash.
Right.
So, but Gurley would be the beneficiary to get a very fine receiving card of the offensive line, and he should generate some run calls with this card. Don't you think, Dennis?
Oh, absolutely. If you're not going to call run against Gurley, who are you going to call run against?
All right, and then Elijah McGuire is decent receiving card, better than I thought. Not a good backup running back card for the year. Another team, Dennis, why are these guys not trying to get at least a decent backup running back card? There were some adequate backup running back cards here. J.D. McKissick only had 46 attempts, so
great receiving card. Go look at his receiving card. McKissick.
I know it's real good. Okay. But I mean, Gurley can run. How many times can Gurley run?
26 or 27.
You need more than that. No, Tyrod can do some man runs. That's an issue. I wish he got a little bit back in there. And Robbie Anderson's got a real nice card for the bomb, right, Dennis? It's a good yardage.
Yes, great card.
Wow, only 16.22 short though. I didn't realize that. I would have assumed 19.26. But is he maxed out? 5'11". That's interesting. Maxed out bomb, only 16.22. That's Travis Benjamin style. Then you got A.J. Green, Thorsten Seferian Jenkins. Kind of a weird offense. Jack Doyle. Very weird offense. But
again, everything will revolve around the flat passing of Taylor and the runs of Gurley.
And the short pass right with Taylor, I think, will be a big weapon. True. And you've got that offensive line for run blocking will really help. But I wish you had a better second back. Defense, so the team going for the year. Danny Shelton a nose tackle last year or a 4-3? So
he's a 4-3.
Yeah, so it's a 5-4. He's playing a 3-4, yeah.
Okay, so he's a 4 nose tackle.
Yep, so he's a 5-4-5 defensive line. Oh, look at this, Dennis. 5-5-6-6. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Let me start that again. 0-5-6-6. A linebacker. He does it back up outside 4. There's a particularly dangerous receiver left outside. Chandler Jones is spending a ton of time on the line of scrimmage with that 12-10 anyway, okay? Yep. But 5-4-5, and maybe some of that north tackle because Shelton's only a 4. 5-4-5 is 0-5-6-6. I love that. And Dennis, with these 6-6s, he can slide that left inside out a lot.
Right.
Roll to the line, but there's to be a lot of movement up front for Jeff here. 4-5, solid. Safety 4, free safety 6. This defense looks real strong, Dennis. You agree?
I like this card. I like the way he has it set up. Again, he'll have him slide out, like you said, and you're throwing in a 5 linebacker instead of the 0 that you thought was going to be out there.
The field goal kicker is Justin Tucker. Is the best in the business. Very solid. And also he's got a 0-10 to come into left end on passing downs for pass rush. So I think the defense is real strong. The offense is good enough. I like the early in the running game. I wish he could have got a better second back because he could win a lot of games that way. But Taylor's good enough. I like the team. One of the better ones we've seen. There are some drawbacks. I'm going to go 11-5.
All right, I'm going to go 12-4.
Would not be surprised with that. And it is a competitive league. All right. The Pittsburgh Steelers, that is Ron Martin.
Yes, you're correct.
And as I'm trying to beat Dennis's deadline, I skipped Jeff. This is Jeff Bevier's 4th year, Dennis. 3-13, 7-9, 6-10. Looking for his first SOMIFA playoff appearance. He'll certainly get that. Ron Martin's Pittsburgh team, which won the Super Bowl back in 2009 and 2011, has only made the playoffs once in the last 4 years, Dennis. 6-10, 11-5, 5-11, 9-7. That's with Aaron Rodgers in the fold. And Ezekiel Elliott is on this team. Neither one of these guys, a big name. And there's a team that can bounce back in a hurry. Because neither one of those guys had a great STRAT card or a great year in last year in the NFL. But they could easily see them doing much better this year. Elliott's off to an excellent start. And Aaron Rodgers is a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Rodgers this year is 13-18 short and 6-12 deep.
And he usually gets a bump for the must runs as well. The flat is where the must run him 2-10 is 5 yards or more, 2-5, 12 yards or more. And he has 12 units of it. Tell me those units again, Dennis. Oh, sorry, he's 8 units of it. Tell me those units again.
So 17-21 flat, 13-18 short, and 6-12 deep.
So 13-18 and 6-12, but with 8 must runs, almost like 4 more completions. So that's not bad. The flat pass is not as good as usual, but it's not awful. It's 5 only incomplete. That's what Brady has. One of the big things in this card, Dennis, for a Rodgers card, and I have them at 13 in the set, which is probably higher than Ed does, is the interceptions on right, Dennis. Short pass 2-7.
Yeah, unusual.
Rodgers. And the long pass, he even has it on a 10. Okay, so that's unusual for him. He's still better than Deshaun Kajah, the backup. Jacoby Brissett could come in if you have a big lead in the second half. The running game, Ezekiel Elliott's card, not that great, right, Dennis? Kind of ordinary?
Yeah, I would say, for this set, I would say top 15, but not like his usual top 5 type card, or his potential top 5 type card.
I hear you. I do have him number 16 in the set here. It's not that bad. It gets wrong. It's okay. If you forget the name on the card, you could say, "Oh, this is not a bad card." Not a bad card. You can work with it, but you don't have a big time running threat there with that card. And any of these other guys, good, Dennis. James White, Ty Montgomery, Jeremy Hill.
I would say of those, James White's the best.
And he only had 43 carries. So what else you got?
Oh, forget him, yeah. But his receiving card's kind of special, so you bring him in on third downs.
Yeah, but you need someone to run.
None of those other guys are good. I mean, at least he has 71 carries.
Yeah, Montgomery 3.8. If he's gonna always run against wrong. I guess it's not horrible. Also a good receiver. And then Jeremy Hill tends to get overcarded, but not with the 3.1 average. No, I got a little bit against wrong, but okay. He's got my man Patrick Ricard as the backup. He's a blocking back 6. Or is Josh Hill a decent second tight end? 16 catches, $125, and no, he's
average,
bad.
Below average.
So you might see 3 wide with this team. That's not Ron's cup of tea. So probably blocking back with the 6. Patrick Ricard is not much of a STRAT receiver. You got 1-7 pass blocking. He's got 2 zeros run blocking. He's got 1-7 and 1-5 pass blocking. The rest 4s.
Let's check that defense out.
Larry Fitzgerald is a possession receiver at this point. Flat short pass, 9-15 deep. Will Fuller is the opposite. Good long pass, probably. Not good short pass. The tight end is only okay. The blocking back can't receive that well. Weapons lacking a little bit. Offense can sputter, I think. Defense is a 3-4 with a nose tackle 0. Is that right?
Wow.
Sheldon Richardson, yeah. So Ron's really not going that hard for the year, I suppose. I don't remember him making a lot of trade. I think he told me that he thought his team would not be that great this year. 5-0-6 defensive line. 4-4-5-6, Dennis, linebackers, but 4-4-4-4 secondary. But he does have outstanding pass rush. Clay Matthews is a 12 out there. And Jadeveon Clowney, 12-5 ass rush on the other side.
Just blitz the house all the time, but he needs better defensive ends for that. Bring Frank Clark in for hires.
Frank Clark, 0-11. And he even got inside 6-5, Joe Schubert and Danny Trevathan. So this team is going to struggle. I'm going to go 6-10, Dennis.
I will match you on that.
All right. And mostly because of the nose tackle and the sputtering offense. And a lot of stuff in the offense. The offensive line is not helping him. Now we got a couple of good teams coming up here as we get down near the end. The commissioners, San Francisco 49ers, who have made the playoffs virtually every year. Last year, he missed the playoffs. He no asterisk. Missed the playoffs at 9-7, made the mini playoffs and lost. I forget to whom. But before that, he made the playoffs every year since year one. All kinds of success. Dennis, you know we've had 5 different Super Bowl champions in the last 5 years?
Wow, that's pretty cool.
We had like 3 guys win like 9 of the first 10 Super Bowls. And then, I think that was for the previous team.
Yes, it was. I'll reset it.
And then 5 different guys in the last 5 years. So shows you how the league has changed. Now the commissioner has got Carson Palmer, quarterback, came close to getting Case Keenum. I bet we're all glad that he didn't get Case Keenum because it makes it easier for us. Carson Palmer not with a good must running. That's part of why he retired. He just can't run anymore. I need to hang it up. This card looks like it has some effectiveness, Dennis. The flat pass not too bad, 10 only incomplete. What are the units on Mr. Palmer?
18-22 flat, 13-17 short, and 6-11 deep.
So it's deceiving because the numbers are in the middle. Because those numbers aren't that great. I've got him 22nd in my rankings. It can be an effective card if you do other stuff well, but it's not a, you can throw a flat heavy with this card.
Yeah, he's got Bilal Powell as who's a pretty effective running back. He does have a good backup running back in Matt Breida.
Well, Powell's got an interesting card, very chunky, Dennis. Look at this linebacker wrong. And off tackle wrong. The off tackle wrong is interesting. You have the short game and 6, but 7 8 aren't good, but then 2, 3, and 12 are good. I guess you're going to hit off tackle wrong, Dennis, or you're going to go linebacker wrong, 2, 3, and 10 the long game.
Mix it up. Does he have a center 6? I might go a little bit more linebacker, but if he doesn't, then I would go off tackle.
Powell not as good of a receiver as usual. Only 178 attempts. Offensive line is usually a strength for the commissioner.
Nice, yeah. So he has his offensive center 6'7", so I would go do a lot of linebucking with him.
Yeah, Alex Mack will help move the chains, and he'll pop an occasional 10 long gain. And he also has the left tackle 6, though, so he can do either one.
And then you got Gronk and his crazy averages guessed wrong. So if you start keying in on Powell, you might get burned that way.
Yeah, it's the offensive line. Only 1-7 with 3s at guard, Dennis, and 5 at offensive tackle. Dennis, if you have chops handy, you may want to be licking them.
Yes.
Because I know you like to blitz and come after for some sacks, so it may be harder for Ed to throw them down the field. But the
high linebacker and second high linebacker.
That's right. Now, he does have the receiving targets. Gronk, of course, as you mentioned, Dennis. 15.7 average. Wow, look at that as a tight end. Look at that. Flat pass right, Dennis. 5 through 9. Flat pass right, 5 through 9. 17, 11, 10, 13.
Amazing.
That's awesome. Devontae Adams is finally developed in that type of receiver. He's not maxed out short. I thought he was. Double teams without being maxed out short. You don't see that every day of the week. 1926, but he's still effective. He's a pretty good card. Marius Thomas, 83 catches. He's more the flat pass, short pass guy with nothing for more than 19 yards until you throw a bomb. But he's helpful, certainly. Derek Carrier, I know that Ed likes to run the blocking back, but Anthony Sherman is a 5. So I would think he would be in there more, but he's not in here. Unless Ed's planning on going too tight with...
Yeah, Mercedes Lewis got a decent card. Yeah.
Yeah, so okay. Ed usually likes the blocking back, but I think you're right. So I like the receiving numbers. You can see this as a West Coast team. Who's the number 2 back, Dennis? Shane Vereen, Breida, Benny Cunningham. Which one of those?
Breida.
Yeah, Breida got a pretty good card. 105 attempts, 4.4. Pretty decent with the off tackle guess wrong. Not very good against right, and not as good a receiver as he will be probably one day. And a 0-0. So again, none of the teams with very good backup running back cards. Interesting offense. And his commissioner, I give him a ton of boost for that because he always does so well. San Fran 3-4 defense. Dennis goes. Snacks was on a 4-3 last year. Giants switching back to a 3-4 in the NFL this year. So it's a 4-5, 4-5-5, 4-4-0-4. Shows you how there are no good linebackers. 4-5-5, 4-4-0-4, 5-5-5-6. He's got some pass from the right at 9, the left outside 11, but not a lot. Speaking, I'm grasping at straws there because it's the commissioner. he's going to let that nose tackle 5 play a lot and blitz other guys. And I shouldn't have blitz him, move the guys around to flood flats. He's probably going to let his short pass defenders play a lot of man and bring Weddle up into the flats and play that style of defense. I always overestimate him. I don't know about overestimate. I always give him.
No, you have to. You have to give him the respect that he has shown over the years.
Yeah, and he got a pretty solid kicker. If it wasn't Ed, I would be thinking 8-8, 9-7. Carson Palmer, Bilal Powell.
I don't know.
I'm gonna go. What do you say? I'm gonna go.
I'll go 11-5.
Yeah, I was thinking 11-5, maybe 10-6. I'm gonna go 11-5. Also, I was gonna say 10-6, but I need to even off the ledger. So let me do it right now. I'll go 11-5 because there are a couple of new coaches around or whatever, and there's a lot of weakness in the league. And they're really not that many great teams right now. I mean, I think Oakland's the best team we've seen so far. Now we're gonna look at Seattle, which might be the best team. So I think I'll tell you what, Dennis. Looking at these reviews, you should feel even better about your decision to make some big moves for the year there with getting Clay Campbell and stuff late.
Yeah, I didn't go all out, but at least I, gave up a couple of pieces that would look better 2 or 3 years from now. So we'll see how it works out.
Well, but you made some significant improvements there with those guys.
Yeah, the bird in the hand this time.
That's right. Russell Wilson is the quarterback. Who knew? 2-6, 10 yards or more. 2-8, 5 yards or more. Return to the end run, the type of end run card Dennis wants to see. After it was last year that he had the down one with the bad knee.
2 years ago.
Okay.
Oh, no, you're right. Yeah, two card sets ago.
Yeah, the previous set to this one. Okay. So me for 2016, that would be flat pass 5 only incomplete. Short pass. Give me the hits there, Dennis. Short and long.
Hold on 1 second. My daughter's having a problem with the blender.
Okay.
Wilson is. Okay, good. She's going to handle it herself. Okay,
I heard that. That's now on YouTube.
It's now on YouTube, Hunty. You are now YouTube famous. Okay, she wants me to stop. 17-21 flat, 13-24 short, and 7-13 long.
Okay, 13-24 short, 7-13 long with the 7 must runs. Guess right, helping out a lot. It's a very solid card. Picked slightly higher than you'd like for Russell, but not bad. 2-5 and 12 on the short pass right, only because he's been very low at times. I still have him pretty high. I've got him number 6 mathematically, and I would certainly push him out of Case Keenum, I believe, and probably even Alex Smith if I was doing it that way. So it might be a top 5 card, but it's a very, very solid all-around card. I like that he could challenge all 3 levels. Good right and wrong, and short pass wrong is real good. 13 long pass wrong is one of his better ones. So that's nice. So I like that card a lot for this set. A nice all-around card. You got Mark Ingram, a nice 2-headed backfield, which you like to use. You got Mark Ingram, who I think I have as the number 1 pure rusher in this set. Even though it's a chunky card, this is just a mathematical formula. Again, it would be different if I was going subjective. I think it's the number 1 pure rusher, number 2 overall if you include the receiving and the fumbling. It's an interesting card. The line broke wrong. Doesn't have the short gains, but it got like +8, +7, +4, +6. So that's not bad. And the guess right is the strength of the card. Dennis wishes he had the short gains. Everyone has them, but also has the fumble -6 guess right. The tackles are the +54 long gain. And then Marshawn Lynch has more of the type of card that Dennis normally likes to use, more consistent with the short gains in the middle there, and run 6 and 8 short gain guess wrong. Who do you see using more, Dennis, Lynch or Ingram?
Ingram's who I've used more so far, and I'm 2-0. I've hit a couple of those big numbers, but who knows? It could change because you make some good points about going, for those consistent short gains. You're not going to get those on Ingram's card. No,
but he's got the nice guess right yards, and some of those big runs are pretty big. That 4 long gain off tackle. And let's see, you have blocking. You have 5s at the tackle and at the center. For the run blocking, you have only 1-7. Usually you have a couple of those. Again, even your team, like you said, you didn't go all out for the year. The pass blocking is not as strong as it normally would be for a Dennis Crowley team. And part of that, again, Dennis, the league, like I said, 5 different champions in the last 5 years. A lot of guys improving. General managing improving, so the talent is more spread out, and we're just not seeing. We have more of like an NFL separation. Like a 10-6 team is maybe not that much better than a 7-9 team, as opposed to some of these leagues, particularly double counting leagues, where it's like 12-4 versus 3-13 every week.
Yeah.
One guy's excellent and good, and the other guy's like poor and average, and it's like game over before the kickoff. Sometimes it seems that way. Sometimes. So you're susceptible to some pass rush. Are you concerned about that, Dennis? You're a heavy blitzer yourself. So when you only have the 1-7, are you concerned about that, or because you have the two good running backs and a pretty good flat pass quarterback, you're fine with it?
It's not a great flat pass quarterback. Russell only completed like 60% of his passes. It was his lowest completion percentage last year.
Yeah, but it's pretty decent.
I'm a little concerned, but I have plenty of strategies to mitigate it. You know me, I don't mind running on third down if I have to.
No, yeah, and plus you have good, actually big play receivers, and you have two backs with a lot of carries, so you can run the ball all day if you wish. Marvin Jones, I might have as the best receiving card in the set for yardage, and actually, I think on the number receiver role, he is maxed out short. Okay, and he's certainly maxed out.
Yeah, you're right.
So he's my number. He was my number one receiver by formula also. Tyreek Hill is maxed out deep on no long gains. It's weird. 7 is plus 52 right and wrong. That's better than a lot of long gains. You got to tell me if you ever hit this flat pass wrong 4 plus 56. That is awesome.
That's nice. I'm gonna try to shoot for that.
Yeah, when you're winning 28-3 in the fourth quarter. Well, you're shooting for it. That's a good time to shoot for it. Zach Miller, you're going.
Yeah, I do two tight end.
Blocking back.
I'll do blocking back and two tight end. I go
okay.
both, but blocking back usually.
Okay. And you can go 3 wide with Josh Gordon if you want. He's good, does some things, right?
Yeah.
I clicked the wrong thing there. Okay. I think he's 12-18 deep with a good average.
Yeah. He's decent third receiver.
That's right. 3-4 defense goes 6-5-6. Look at that. I said 5 pluses at defensive end. You went one better. 6 up to the time. Say the same jokes over and over. Recycle them. It's good for the environment. 6-5-6 with the pass rushing 10 on the bench. I saw that trade. 4-0-4-5. See, there's still linebackers around. Who's that guy that had the right inside 6? That was Oakland. Had the right inside 6 and right outside 6. We saw what Tony did in SSFA with all those linebacker 6s. Jeff's playing a 3-4. That's going to help that defense a lot because you see what everyone else, even guys who are trying to compete this year at a high level, have. And I'm liking my chances better, Dennis. I'm seeing the rest of the league. Yep. 4-0-4-5 at linebacker. 5's a corner, 4 safety, 5 free safety. So pretty good defense. The offense is real good. You got Tyreek Hill trying punch nowhere like last year's hard. But it's always a touchdown. What do you do for kicking? Let's see. Nice. Get a very kicker. Robbie Gold's 2-10 after the 32. I like to see that. Okay. I like the team a lot. I always predict you for more than you wish I would. Is that 6-5-6? You don't even like calling run when you have like 4s up there.
I
know. I like the offense a lot. You're one of the better running. You're one of the better QB RB combos that we've seen, particularly with having so many carries and having these receiving weapons. So I like the team a lot. You're gonna get mad at me. I'm gonna go 14-2, Dennis.
That's all right. I mean, I expect myself to do good this year, so I will go with this. They always have those games, especially when you have average. So I'll go 13-3.
Yeah, and I think you have an excellent chance to make your second SOMIFA Bowl, and maybe add it to your list of leagues in which you're winning multiple titles here. What did you win it 2 years ago? Let me find it here. Oh, we didn't do your recent history. 2014 club, 14-2 regular season, won the Super Bowl. Last year, 13-3. So that'd be a nice 3 out of 4 years for me for running. Doing 13 plus games, 3 out of 4 years, maybe a second Super Bowl, possibly a championship. We know it's tough in the playoffs, but I like knowing your coaching and the types of teams you win with and the way that team looks. I like the way that's all fitting together, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
All right. Tampa Bay is Tim. We're down to 3 teams. All right.
2 teams.
No, we got Tampa Bay, Tennessee. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Green Bay's at the bottom for me because they already played a game against me and lost. Okay. Tampa Bay down to 2 teams. Excellent. Dak Prescott. Tim made the move to trade it for Patrick Mahomes. Looking brilliant now. Would you agree, Dennis?
Oh, absolutely. Everybody who picked Watson over, and now Watson's not bad. Watson's having a better year than he had last year in some metrics, but Mahomes is like MVP candidate as the first year as a starter. That's incredible.
Yeah, but Watson's numbers are still good. I mean, the way I always feel is if you draft a guy and he's good, I don't worry about a guy behind him being better, even at quarterback. So I wouldn't be surprised if Houston improves as the season goes on. So we'll see what happens there. The pass block is a big issue. No one can really pass very well when they're not getting pass blocking in the NFL, as you know. But Prescott suddenly looking ensconced on the bench here for Tampa Bay. So this team is future oriented. You got Prescott for the year. Oh boy, must run is I think much better than last year's. 2 to 8 plus 7 or more, with 2 to 6 plus 11 or more. I like that. 2 to 6, 10 or more is what I want. A lot of the guys get stuck with 2 to 5. And even the running is nice, although he's got big minuses on the right. Kind of a flat pass, excellent card. What does he got for short pass, long pass hips, Dennis?
Hold on. Let me put that over there. Of course, I do a typo. He is 1924 short, 1116 short, 1924 flat, at 411 deep.
Yeah, you can always skip the flat, just some of the short and the deep.
Okay.
So 1116 doesn't look that strong, but it comes with 8 must runs, which are real good. So the short pass right will be good. You got a double team and a blitz to get him off of that. And then you said 410, I believe it is, deep. But again, some good must run right. So this is actually a card. Picks are certainly much higher than last year, but it's a card that is not that bad. I think you can certainly compete at a high level with that card if the rest of your team is good, even though he's only number 17 in my mathematical formula. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. And I think that he's, believe he got off to a 1-0 start already. Let me check. Yeah, Tampa Bay, no, 1-1. So he got one win and then he lost one the other night.
Okay, now I know the team is not really going for the year, so I don't think the rest of this is going to look that good. Tevin Coleman is the lead back. His off tackle wrong is not too bad, but it's not that great. It's a junky card. The MR wrong is actually pretty decent, but the right gives you nothing, and we're talking only okay columns. Excellent receiving yardage. Look at the flat pass, right? 8, 9, 13, and 11.
Yeah, impact.
Also goes deep with 5'10". And he's even a 3 pass blocking, which is helpful. Then who's the other back? Doug Martin, Donta Foreman, or Kerwin Williams, Dennis?
Foreman.
So George's nephew, probably not. Donta Foreman. Oh, off tackle wrong is not too bad for him.
Yeah.
So he can help out a little bit for the year there. Let's see. Sammy Watkins. Receivers don't look that great. 39 catches, 15.2. 12, 18, 19, 26. So this is a solid number 2 type of receiver card for Watson and pretty good yardage. Brandon Coleman, only 23 catches, a 15-point average, but 16, 22, 5'10". So not that good. It only helps a little with the flat pass yardage. Eric Ebron, who's stepping it up with the Colts now. Dennis, we talked about that last night. 10.8 yard average. Decent card, but the yardage is not really what you'd like. Well, the flat pass right is not too bad. But that short pass is ugly. More of a blocking back looking card than a tight end card. I guess Anthony Fasano was the blocking back. So a weird offense. Tim is good at, I mentioned this with Dan Moore, Tim's good at getting something out of an offense like this that looks kind of underwhelming, but the guys are kind of decent. Only has 1-7 pass blocking, the rest of 4s and a center 3. Only has got 5 to tackle for run blocking. The other guys are 0s and a 4. So that's going to hurt him. He's not going to get a bump there. So I think the offense will have some problems, but be okay at times. The defense is a 4-3 that goes 6-4-4-4 with very good pass rush, with both defensive ends being a 12 with asterisks. The linebackers, Dennis, goes 0-0-4, and the secondary goes 4-4-4-4. So despite the defensive ends, this team is cruising for a bruising. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. That defensive ends will make it better, but it's still going to be tough to stop people.
Yeah, it's always a problem. You can run, again, 4-3, weak front 7 outside of the left end against the run. You can run at him or throw flat to him. And you have to respect the run because you got all 4s there. So that's going to be a problem. Not to mention you can take some shots down the field. So that's an issue. I'll make a quick look at the special teams. They don't seem that remarkable. The guy's got a they're okay. The kicker's good. Cody Parkey out there 32. And not to give Tim a short shrift, because I know he mentioned this, trying to race to finishes. I know you have a guy waiting to play. Tim had made the playoffs 3 straight years, including making the 2014 Super Bowl, in which you defeated him, Dennis, 16-6. That's like a Vikings-Steelers score.
Yeah,
and before last year, going into the rebuild after Tony Romo's retirement, and he went 4-12, and this will be another rebuilding year for this team before the Patrick Mahomes era begins next year and begins in earnest. And I think the team's going to struggle, Dennis.
I'm going 6-10. I think he'll do enough to win some games, but not make the playoffs.
I'm going 3-13. I don't like the defense and the offense will spread it too much. It's a bad combination. I think there'll be a lot of close games and lose a lot, like lose 16-10, and it seems like a lot of close games. Like late third quarter, the guy just pulls ahead. I'm gonna go 3-13 for that club.
Okay.
Even though he's 1-1, who did he beat? Do you
know? He beat Indianapolis. So he beat Jeff 23-20, and he lost to Detroit.
Okay. I don't think I played Tim this year. Doesn't look like it. Well, that's right. He beat me last year. I think game 1, maybe. Maybe it was him. I think.
All right. Last team, Tennessee.
Tennessee, Mick Bouchon. Putting the Ushan in Bouchon. What does that mean? Who knows? This is the team that was formerly John Madden's team. Last year was Mick's first year. Made the big Antonio Brown trade and the Lamar Miller trade. Went 11-5, made the playoffs. It was a very competitive playoff field last year. He lost in the playoffs. And I think he's planning on going back to the playoffs, Dennis. You got Big Ben at quarterback.
Problem there with Lamar Miller as your lead back. That's got me a little worried. Great card for Big Ben. I mean, great with the hits deep, but he's certainly fraught with turnovers.
The interceptions are a little high. Yeah, I get Big Ben. I'm number 10 in my format, probably because of the long pass acumen.
So he's 15-21 short and 9-13 deep.
That's pretty good. The long pass right interception is troubling, and the triplets right's a little high to like, but I still have number 10. It can hit all 3 levels, but ideally you want a running attack with that more so you can stay away from some of those high interception splits, Dennis, that you talked about. Yeah. Lamar Miller on 3.7 average.
Oh my God! Card. I didn't think he had a card that good. Okay, I stand corrected.
I knew he had a decent card. I've got him number 13 in my overall rankings. I like the end run wrong. The off tackle is not good against right. It's not as good as last year's, but it's a card that you kind of have to run a little against. So he'll hurt you otherwise.
Right.
And decent receiving. Who's the number 2 back, Dennis? Jarek McKinnon, Jamal Charles, or Chandrick West?
Well, McKinnon is really good. Charles is not bad either. So you look at his card; he's got a little bit of a fumbler, but he's got some decent end run numbers. If he's over 50, I can't remember if he is or not. But I have him as a backup. Yeah. So look at that.
Yeah.
He's got one of those
I think Charles looks like a little better than McKinnon because you have the short gain type of run
right
in the middle. McKinnon's a much better receiver and better against right. I'd probably go with Charles a little more. Well, he might have a super high fumble. I don't recall. I have to look into that. You got Antonio Brown, who's maxed out, of course. Greg Olsen is excellent. And then Martavis Bryant is really the other receiver. What about Emmanuel Sanders? 50 with a 12.1.
Emmanuel Sanders had an awful year last year thanks to Trevor Siemian.
9-15. Hold on. Yes, you got Siemian. Okay. The Siemian ape.
Yes.
So Martavis Bryant is... you wish you had a little better receiver over there. But David Njoku will pick up some slack. He's got a pretty nice card. Blocking back or second tight end. You like that flat pass yardage, don't you, Dennis?
Yeah.
And he can even go short. So that's nice. So he's got some good weapons. He can throw flat. He can throw short to Brown and Olsen. Do some bombs to those guys as well. Big Ben's got some picks, but a good card. He's got 2 7s on the line, a 5, a 4, and a 3. Again, Dennis, I keep saying this. Like everyone's got things everyone's got things that they're not that great at. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like you and Oakland have the 2 most complete teams, and then the other teams, even ones that are good, like Atlanta and stuff, they've all got little weaknesses, and stuff like this. So they'll make the games pretty fun, I think.
Yeah, Tennessee's off to a 1-0 start. It's kind of like a battle royale league where everybody's kind of competitive.
It is. I don't know who the worst team in the league. Oh, Tampa Bay probably, from what I saw so far. And maybe someone from the first 10 teams. I'd have to double check. Tennessee 4-3 defense, I believe. Yes.
Yes.
Goes 6-4-5-5. Then goes 0-4-0 linebacker. Jeez. And then 5-5-6-4 safety. So you see what I'm saying? But like you look at this team like, oh, they're not that bad. Big Ben's pretty good, but he throws some picks. All right, Lamar Miller's pretty good, guess wrong, but he's not that great, guess right. And the second back's only okay. All right, he's got a couple of sevens, but he's got a 3 and a 4. This is like the poster child team for the way the league is this year, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, the defensive line looks pretty good. Oh, the secondary, oh, yeah, but then the linebacker is 0-4-0. So it's really going to be, I think, a fun league and an interesting season, entertaining. Because there can be a lot of close games, like almost like in any given Sunday type of an atmosphere. For 90% of the games, you know. So it's. I mean, look, and Tennessee is probably going to be competing for the playoffs, but you know they're squaring off against a 6-10 type of team. It's not like it's a cakewalk. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's certainly going to be good. I like the way it looks.
So, what do you want to predict for Mick?
I like mixed teams.
He gets the bump from Jamal Agnew on the punt returns. Dennis, you know all about him.
Yes, I do.
I'm sure.
I'm going to go.
And then he's got, that's a little shaky. 13-22, 11-12. Again,
I'm going to go 12-4 for old Mick.
Oh, 12-4.
Because I need to balance my books. My books are off.
I'm sure my books are off too, but I'll bounce. I can't bounce them at 12-4 for this club. I think a lot of the teams that I picked under 500 will be getting more wins because the top is not as strong as I thought in terms of depth anyway. Big Ben, Lamar Miller, the backup running back not as good. I like the front four. I like the secondary. These linebackers are a big problem. I'm going to surprise you. I'm going to go 9-7.
6'5"
Jamal Agnew. Jamal Agnew was 0-4-0 linebackers in a 4-3. Those zeros, not everyone has 2 zeros on the outside in 4-3. A lot of guys play 3-4, and those zeros got to cover somebody.
Yep,
4 is already bad enough. But actually, I forgot about Jamal Agnew. I'm going to give him 10-6.
All right. Okay, so we are. You are 8 games off, and I am 4 games off. So I'm going to go back to Jersey Joe, and I'm going to change him back from a 7-9 to a 9-7. That's going to get me 2 games away, and then that's all I need to do.
All right, then now I know you have a game waiting for you. Do you want to just email me that, and I'll make my adjustments?
Sure.
All right, so when you save that email to me, and then I'll make my adjustments to get me up to 500, and then I'll email it back to you, and you posted it because you.
Perfect, because then I want to be able to reference it and save it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We didn't do a playoff Super Bowl pick.
Okay. So you want to just do the Super Bowl? I will say. Who was the other team that was really good besides me?
Oakland, and you also liked Atlanta with Nathan.
Yeah, I do like that. I'm going to just, not that I have the best team or think I'm going to win it, but I'm going to go ahead and pick myself. I'll call my shot. I'll say Seattle over Atlanta.
You know, that's the exact Super Bowl I'm also going to pick. I'm going to pick Seattle over Atlanta. I like Oakland. I think they could definitely get there. I think Houston's got capability. I don't know what I picked them to be, but I can't remember now. But yeah, I'm gonna go Seattle over Atlanta as well. I don't think it's Nathan's best team, but it's good enough, and he's kind of due. So maybe he gets a couple of breaks this year in the playoffs. And I like your team. It looks real good all around, and you have the experience as a coaching. I think Jeff will be there in the mix, and could easily be the champion or make the Super Bowl as well. I would never count Ed out and some other guys either. I'd have to review all the records to see who else might get in there. But it should be an interesting year, that's for sure. And it'll be very competitive. And I like my chances better than it. I'll probably improve my prediction for the Jets now that I've seen all the teams.
It would be nice to have a playoff matchup if I'm a high seed and you're a struggling low seed and have you knock me out. That would be poetic justice. So with Ryan Fitzpatrick.
You would actually enjoy that? Okay, I'll be happy to oblige. Thank you. You're going to run some Lima quarterback on 2nd and 23. Is that what you're going to do? Or
I'm going to work it in. I'm going to work it in. Okay, I'm going to run. Thanks for doing this, and send that back to me, and I'll put it under your once you post the thread.
Sure. Thanks so much for joining me, Dennis. See you later. Good luck in your game. Adios. I'll do the sign off.
Thanks.
Later. So that was Dennis Crowley, folks. That was part 2 of our SOMIFA 2017 season preview. Doing this on a Friday night in early October. Dennis has a game ready for him, as he often does. He's in so many leagues. Really going to be an interesting season. I do have my first half predictions. I do have my first half predictions somewhere. I didn't get to Houston. I don't know what it did. Dennis has got that. At Atlanta 11-5, Detroit 10-6. I think I had a few teams with like double-digit victories, so I got to adjust that. But what we see this year is, I think Seattle and Oakland are the 2 best teams. I rarely pick the 2 best teams to make the Super Bowl, because usually, it's not usually what happens, right? I feel like Dennis's club, particularly with his coaching and his experience in all these big games, he's going to coach just as well in the semifinal as he does, in week 9 when you're playing him. So I think that helps him. I think, sometimes if you haven't been to the big spots before, you might not coach as well as you'd like. Although Dale, of course, won the Super Bowl last year after pretty much not even making the playoffs hardly, or not winning a playoff game, I don't think, in league history until last year. They won 3 or 4, I forget. Yeah, but a lot of parity, a lot of teams close together. I think I said this last year. I think I said that, there's a lot of teams close together, really no dominant teams. So I felt like the field was ripe for someone to make a surprising run to the Super Bowl. You ended up with 2 teams doing that, one going 10-6, one going 9-7, and meeting in the Super Bowl as the high seeds were getting knocked out willy-nilly. Dennis and I were the 1 and 2 seed, both lost in the first round. And now this year, I think Dennis's Seattle team is better than the teams at the top last year. I think this Oakland team is probably a little better than the teams at the top last year. But you still could have someone with, have surprising season. I think you could have some people have surprising seasons just to get in the playoffs. And you could have some guys who, once they're in there at 9-7 or 10-6, make a run, because outside of maybe Seattle and Oakland, the real quality is not there at 3, 4, 5, and 6 seed as there are in many seasons. Usually like those first 5 teams are pretty good in a SOMIFA/SSFA league. So I'm intrigued. We'll see what happens. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. Adios.